Anthony Esposito, welcome to the Voodoo Lounge. How are you, man?
Good. How are you, my man?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. We had some lousy weather lately, but I think it's making the turn, so I'll live. How's weather by you, anyway?
We just got snow. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah. Well, hopefully we'll make the change here pretty soon. We get the bikes out and, go spinning or something, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll come sooner or later.
Yeah, no kidding, right? All right, man. Tell you what we'll do here. I'm just going to throw some questions at you. Feel free, run with it, whatever you want to do. We'll just shoot it here for a while, and then I'll be out of your hair. Sound good, man?
You're never in my hair. All good.
All right, buddy. Sounds good. Well, then let's jump to her. Let's talk about some of the old stuff, and then bring it up to what you're doing today. How's that sound to you?
Sounds awesome.
All right, man. Well, then I'm going to hit you up right away. And let's go back, talk a little bit about Lynch Mob, huh?
Okay. many moons ago.
Many moons ago, right? You got in that, what was that, right around 88?
Yeah, I joined Access. Yeah, it was probably 88, and then we did pre-production and recorded Wicked Sensation in 89, and I think it came out around 90.
Yeah, and I tell you what, man, I remember listening to that album. I think a lot of us do. And I had the musical climate not shifted Seattle way. That album, by all rights, would have been a monster, man.
Yeah, that's what everybody tells us, and I guess it just took a while for George and Mick to decide that they wanted to put the fork in Dokken. But it is what it is, and I think that first record and the first record I think is really special. Really, really proud to be part of that that whole process. I was really young, and to basically like join a band and be an equal member with Nick and George, who had done so many great records with Dokken and all that. I really got to reap the benefits of their experience and their knowledge. And I was a kid, like early 20s, like really young, and I just got to be part of a really special record at a special time, and I think George's playing on that is phenomenal, and Oni is phenomenal on it, and I really am proud of that record. It's one thing that I did in my life that I'm very proud of, and kind of like you don't appreciate it. It's like a rookie going to the Super Bowl, and you look back at it, and you never know if you're ever, like, the stars are going to line up again, and you're going to make a magical record like that in your career ever again. And it's kind of like I wish that I would have happened a little bit, whether I was a little bit older, so I could appreciate it more. And but it is what it is. It happened then, and it was great. And there's some spots on the second record that I really like too. But Wicked to me is the best Lynch Mob record there is.
Well,
there's nothing that.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's a great album, man. I remember when we got that, a bunch of guys. Well, it was George Lynch's band.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was a great album, man. We believe.
Yeah, I mean, it was a phenomenal time. Great time to be involved with that, and I think it was like probably George's best playing. I mean, he just killed it on that record.
Yeah.
It's so good, and just magical moment. Yes. Had the market been different, and it had come out a little bit pre-Nirvana, maybe, my bank account would be in a different situation right now. But, you play the cards where they are, and it doesn't depreciate the quality of the record. And I'll put that record up against anything in that genre, before or after it.
Oh, right on, man. So, how'd you land that gig anyway, Anthony? How'd you get in that one?
I was referred by there was this girl. She was a publicist at Atlantic, and I had auditioned for a band on Atlantic, and it was like they auditioned like 70 bass players, and I was really young, and I got down. It was down between me and Phil Sasan, and Phil Sasan got the gig, and he had played with Ozzy already and Billy Idol, and I was basically an 18-year-old kid bussing tables. And they went through like 70 bass players, and it was down between me and Phil, and the band chose to go with Phil, obviously. And the girl at Atlantic, the band was on Atlantic, and the girl at Atlantic was like, listen, let me help you out. And she got me, like, a bunch of auditions in a bunch of days. And I ended up picking Lynch Mob out of all of the bands that I auditioned for at the time. And, no regrets. The other ones were some pretty heavy-duty things, and I chose Lynch Mob, and we did Wicked, and I moved to Phoenix, and actually Scottsdale, and that was where the band was based. And we went into pre-production with Max Norman and Bill Kroening, and worked on building the beast that's known as Wicked Sensation, and I was very happy. It was good. It was a great year.
Yeah, I mean, great album. Great stuff. So, look, man, I know you were in and out of Lynch Mob for a while. It was.
Yeah, it was kind of like this thing where, I love those guys. I love playing with those guys. I really, I used to love, basically, when George went out on solos and it was just me and Nick holding up the fort.
Sure.
It was, I love playing with George. I love playing with Oni, but I haven't played with Oni since Wicked, that tour that we did after Wicked, and I love playing with Robert too. Robert's a really close friend of mine. But it's weird. It never was the same as it was the first time around. It was just priorities and goals, and who wanted it to sound like this, who wanted it to sound like that.
Sure, you got
it. Just never ever recaptured that chemistry ever again. It was just weird. So yeah, I don't know. I would love to play. I would definitely play with it again, under the right circumstances and under the right, chemistry and motive and direction. I would never rule it out that I would go back, but it doesn't seem like parties that be are interested in basically doing it the right way, I guess you would say.
Well, so are you happy with where you're at now with Ace? What's going on?
Well, I mean, I'd be happy if he worked more. We did 6 shows last year. I mean, it's not. It seems like the only places we play are Wisconsin, Michigan, and New York, and it's kind of frustrating. Like we busted our ass and made a killer record.
Yeah, great.
Made Anomaly, and we basically went out and did 15 shows on it, on a record that was released and charted and did well. And I just that's the frustration of not being in a band. That's the frustration of not being a member that has a say in the way the ship's going to go. And it's basically his life and his career and where he wants to be at this period in his life. And, if a buck stops at Ace's desk when it comes to that. So, he tells us when he wants to play, if he wants to play. And,
right. Well, I mean,
we haven't done a show. We're in March now. We haven't done a show since the second day of September, so we've been sitting around.
Yeah, and I saw you guys when you were out here. It must have been a year and a half ago. And I mean, that's a smoking band you got going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's
thanks. I mean, it was like
I mean, even
we were
without
worried.
Ace.
We were worried when Scott left, and we were worried about replacing him. And Matt seamlessly walked in like 2 rehearsals with me and Todd, and then 1 rehearsal with Ace, and we played New York. I mean, that was it. Like, he just stepped in, and it was like we really didn't even break stride. But, it's just, it doesn't, I guess touring is not high on his priority list right now. And playing live
is that just like something he's not interested in doing right now? Or?
I don't know. I wish I knew. Yeah, because it's pretty much like, We don't. It's not like we rehearse or we have.
Sure.
You know, we basically book a show, fly out, do it. You know, the gear gets there, and then that's it. You know, it's the band was to a point where we had a complete set happening, and it really wouldn't have required much work except for booking the shows and then showing up and doing them.
Right. Right.
But like I said, I don't think that he really. He's occupied more right now with. He does a lot of signings, like convention signings, kind of those kind of things, and he does. He just did Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp.
Yeah, saw that.
And I think I don't know. I don't know where his head's at. He moved to San Diego and pretty much distanced himself. But occasionally, I think I got a text from him. We exchanged texts on like Valentine's Day, but I don't really. I'm just basically sitting and waiting for. I would think maybe he'll go out in the summer.
Sure.
If he chooses to go out, hopefully he'll choose to keep me included.
Right on. Right.
But like I said, he moved to the West Coast, so I don't really know what my status is anymore in that situation. It's all a big mystery. It's all pretty much like
up in the air on you. So.
Last minute, everything like could change with a phone call. So
yeah.
I don't know. So
well, we're hoping to see you guys out on tour. I mean, I guess if you can pull Eddie Van Halen off the couch and get him to tour, I would think you could get Ace to tour, right?
I don't know. I don't know. Like the thing is, I have absolutely no concept of living the life that Ace has. Like I don't have any. Like when I'm not playing music, I'm working a day job. Like I don't really. It's. I have no concept of a lifestyle like Eddie Van Halen or Ace or those that 0.2% of musician that actually the dominoes all lined up to greatness, and
well, yeah, I mean, bring it on.
Yeah, like that's I can't relate to it, and I think that's part of my frustration with the lack of touring. Like to me, I don't understand why. I look at it as a gift that you have enough fans. You could basically book shows whenever and wherever you want and just go and do it. I love touring. I love playing in front of people, and I love being on the road. It's almost like you become like a family with the guys in the van and the crew, and when you're off the road, you kind of miss that. Not to use another sports analogy, but they say when you retire from like a football team or a basketball team, the thing that you miss the most is the camaraderie with your teammates.
Oh, sure.
And that's kind of thing when you're not on the road, you kind of miss that, and, I still keep in touch with all the guys and, talk to them and call them. But I'm in the middle of Pennsylvania. I'm not like, let's go meet at the Rainbow for a drink, because I'm not. I'm like, 100 yards from a cow. So, but it's that's the way the situation it is. Like with Ace, I absolutely have no idea what will happen in the future, and I only hope that if he does choose to tour again, that I'm still included as part of the band, because I have no idea what's up. So.
Yeah, that's rough, man. Especially coming off an album as good as Anomaly,
Yeah, I loved it. It was great. We did it. We started on that record up at his house, and he had all these like little palm-held digital recorders and all these little like cassette tapes of like ideas that he had in his hotel room when he was on Kiss, when he was on the Kiss tour, or like just like these rough demos that he did, and we just went through everything, and it was just basically him and me combing through all this material until we sort of, narrowed it down. We had the big chalkboard and wrote everything down. Well, then we got Anton in, And we sort of moved out of Ace's house and moved into my studio. I had a recording studio on 27th Street at the time. And we started practicing with Anton, the drummer for Anton Fig, and then we started working out the parts. And then basically got Jay Messina, who is an amazing engineer. He's worked, first 5 Aerosmith records and Cheap Trick and John Lennon. Like, the guy's a phenomenal engineer. Right. He basically ran the console and got everything to sound amazing, and we just started tracking songs. And then after we got, 90% of the basic tracks done, we moved back up to Ace's house, to his studio in his house, and we did the vocals and the guitars. And so it was like, it was a really good process. Like, it was fun, and it was healthy, and we got a lot done. And and I'm proud of that record too. There's like, I really, really, really like 4 or 5 songs on it.
Yeah, I mean, like what brought up the drop tuning on that album?
That's all Ace. Everything's Ace. I mean, Ace is he's so gifted, like, just formulating songs and formulating tunings. And I think you're referring to the first single, right? Yeah. Because that's the only one I think we're talking about. I didn't play on that. I had nothing to do with that. Okay. Actually, when he played me the demo, because it was like written by somebody else.
Oh, okay.
I was like, no, I don't really like the song. I don't really think that the drop tuning is you, and I really don't think that your fans want to hear a song written by somebody else right now that you haven't done a solo album in God knows how long.
Yeah, right.
I think they really want to hear what's in your brain and where you are at right now, and not an outside writer. And
well, I think it
like the thing.
I think it all goes back to the '78 solo album. I mean, isn't that pretty much when you think of Ace? That's what you want to hear. I saw you guys when I saw you guys. You did "What's on Your Mind," and I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great tune. Like, he's a great songwriter, and like, I don't understand. Like, if you look at his past history, the guy is so talented at writing songs, and he has such this knack and this insight and this natural intuition on where a song should go, what it should feel like, blah blah blah. Where the vocals should sit, blah blah blah. And that, if you look at his past career, most of his singles that have been released have been cover songs or outside writers. Like New York Groove's an outside writer, Julia is a cover song. The single that was first single, the drop tuning single, was a co-writer. Actually, it was an outside writer that he got a hold of it and tweaked it a little bit. And then the second single was the cover tune again. And I'm like, you're such a great songwriter, and you have such amazing, great songs that you write that the people want to hear what you're saying. And it always seems like when you release a single, it's a cover tune. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, his songs got great hooks.
Yeah.
This
like I would have put like Pain in the Neck or it was used to be called Hard for Me. Foxy and Free was cool. Yeah. There were a lot of good songs on that record. And they released the first Outer Space was like I didn't dig it at all. And then the cover tune, Fox on the Run.
Yeah.
I was like, you're overlooking your own talent, and you're selling yourself short. I'm like,
Well, I think even going back to the original solo album, you take a song like "Rip It Out," and that's just as good as
awesome.
It's as good as New York Groove.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, but you know what? That's New York Groove is like, it's kill. I mean, it's such an ace. It's so I can't imagine anyone else doing that song. It's so perfect.
That's
like
impossible,
he just nailed it, and like it's just perfect. And he told me Eddie Kramer had a lot to do with that song.
Sure.
Like that's the perfect song, and it wasn't like a song that was a hit prior to him doing it. It's sort of, he made it his song, you know, like.
Well, I don't think anybody really even knows it's a cover.
No, I don't think so either. But yeah, you know, that he's just amazing on that song. It's killer.
Well,
you know, it's great.
You know, I don't think I live in Wisconsin, man. I don't think you can go anywhere without hearing New York Groove.
Sure, I mean the Knicks were using it as like they did a hip hop remix of Ace's version, and the Knicks were using it like to come out into the arena and like, yeah, every time we'd go to like, I mean, Ace and I used to go to Yankee games and stuff like that. We'd always play it. Like, it's one of those great New York songs, you know, like, and I just, and I'm, you know, born and raised New Yorker, and, you know, I always remembered it, you know, like my first memory of it was, you know, the Dynasty tour. They did it with a light guitar going. It was like the Garden in like '79 or something like that. It was like my first concert as a kid. And, you know, it's just killer song, you know. Perfect artist, perfect song, perfect timing, you know. That's why his solo album sold more than the other three of them, you know.
And man, you know, off topic a little, but I got to ask you, as a guitar player, have you seen the collection? Have you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on, you know. Like I said, he moved out west, but he used to live in Ossining. I don't know if he still has that house or not. And, but he had a locker. It was like, it wasn't a locker. It was more like a vault, okay? And it was in the studio and off the garage. And it was like the size of like a 2-car garage.
Oh, man.
And it was just a big vault. And it was filled with nothing but guitars and guns. I mean, it was so awesome. And yeah, it's beautiful. Like he's got, you know, he's got so many great instruments, you know, and like, yeah, it's definitely impressive, you know.
Very
but
cool.
He's got his favorites. He's got his go-to, you know, guns that he likes and go-to guitars, you know. But yeah, I miss him, you know. I miss him. We were really close friends, and then he kind of moved away, so I don't really get to see him much anymore.
Well, it sucks, man. You know, I hope everything works out there. You know, I'd like to see you guys, you know, out on the road, do some studio, do some tour, you know.
You know, I don't know. Like, you know, probably would be cheaper for him to get a bass player out in California and just, you know, I don't, you know, it's a solo thing. It's not a band, and I don't, you know, that's not my decision to make, and I just play the cards that I'm dealt. Maybe I'll get a call. Hopefully I'll get a call. If I don't, you know, it is what it is.
Well, we hope so, man. Hey, so in the meantime, you're kind of hanging in limbo out there. I read you're doing some producing and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, it came out really good. I owned a recording studio in New York for 15 years. And we had, like, everybody who came through there, you know, the Ramones, the New York Dolls, the Misfits, like, you know, Green Day was in there. Like, it was just a really cool happening spot. And then my ex-wife got a job on a radio station in Harrisburg, PA. So we bought a horse ranch between Gettysburg and Harrisburg in this little town called Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. And the ranch had on the you know, there's the house, then there's the barn, and on the other side of the barn is like this chicken coop that they turned into like a bunkhouse for like the stable hands, right? So when you know me, as soon as I walked in, I'm like, wow, this would be a killer studio. So I went in there and I built some ISO booths and laid it out, and I moved all my gear in.
Cool.
And just like literally 6 weeks ago, wow, I tracked my first band, and I'm doing this band called the Martini Brothers, and they're a rockabilly band. And they were like, oh, you know what, we want to do a cover record first, where we do covers. And I worked on the Project 1950 record with the Misfits, where they did basically kind of the same concept. They took, they did #1 songs from the 50s, and did them rockabilly style, and their own Misfits rockabilly punk style. And what the Martini Brothers did was they're more rockabilly. They took rock songs, so we did like Ace of Spades rockabilly style, and like so that was the first band that I cut, and like the drum room sounds amazing. Like I literally did, like really didn't do anything to the space except move in, paint, and build some iso booths, and it just had that magic. So now, yeah, I have like working with like got 8 or 9 clients in 5 weeks that I'm in the middle of like records with, and one's a rapper. Another one is this girl who's singing. She's actually on The Voice. Her name's Alison Bordelme. She's on The Voice this season, and I'm working with her. And it's just starting to blossom. And the thing is like, it's boarding where bands from out of town can come out if they want to, have plenty of bedrooms, and they can come and basically crash the house, live at the ranch, make a record, chill out, and basically that kind of vibe.
All right, man. Lay it on me. What do you think? Analog versus digital?
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Right?
As soon as I hear a record that sounds as good as like Dark Side of the Moon on Pro Tools, then we'll talk digital.
Well, it's over Tool.
There's absolutely no comparison between analog and digital, and analog is so much better. And also, analog makes you make decisions.
All right, right.
Yeah, it makes you commit. It makes you say on the spot, look, I only have 24 tracks. Is this solo good enough to keep? Do I need to do it again and replace what I have? And you really need to make decisions in the studio and commit to things and not hold on to things because there's unlimited track space or unlimited this or editing capabilities. Oh, we could take this syllable from this word and move it over here. And it's
right.
And then all of your focus has changed from the room with the artist interchanging and creating the music to staring at a screen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I really think that the whole advent of the CD and the downloading and everything just really kind of carotid the arteries of the music business, and it became too easy to make a mediocre product, and you have to sort through
there is
million.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of mediocre product, and it's strictly because of digital.
Yep.
It's
because everybody with a Mac and a microphone thinks that they can make a record and then puts it out on the internet, and then you sort of have to sift through 90 million mediocre bands to find that one amazing band that used to be the label's job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
and it's just bizarre.
Well, and like what we do here, we do a lot of unsigned bands. And so you listen to a lot of that stuff, and a lot of it is just bad production.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I mean, if you hear anybody that you think, I love working with new artists, and like I really love helping people get what I feel is the best out of themselves. And like the studio is called Obscenic Arts. OBSCENIC, Obscenic Arts, and it's on Facebook, as I'm on Facebook as well. And anybody you want to send my way, that'd be great. I love working with new bands. I love the the excitement that a new band has, the energy, like almost like. Because if you do this for a long, extended period of time, you just get like jaded in a bad way and beat down, like because all the pitfalls, everything that could go wrong is supposed to go right, and sort of like the new artists are kind of like they're looking through a child's eyes where they haven't realized the reality of the situation, and how tough it is, to be able to afford a hot dog,
But sincerely, dude, young bands they need that. They need somebody that knows what they're doing, because as well as I do, everywhere you turn, there's somebody. Hey, I can help you out, or my cousin can help you out. That whole kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a tough biz. It's definitely tough. I have a couple meetings with a couple people that I might start this entertainment group, which would be a film, TV, and music conglomerate company. And so I would, like to just choose a few artists and basically be the all-in manager and label, and just help them, guide them through from the recording into choosing a booking agent and booking shows and career choices and just the whole ball of wax.
Well, I think that's lacking now. I mean, when you got labels looking for they're looking for their bands on YouTube.
The labels only want you if you don't need them. The labels only want you if you're already making money. They want a piece of your money.
Right on.
They don't really want. There's no A&R anymore. There's no artist development. There's very few artists anymore. It's mostly what they sign are singers, and they buy songs for them. They really the nurturing of an artist and the caring of an artist and the partnering up with the artist to basically help and hold their hand and go through all the shit together, it doesn't exist anymore. It's if you're selling or downloading, or you have X amount of downloads or X amount of hits on your page or whatever, and you don't need them, that's when they're willing to say, hey, give us your merch and give us your publishing and we'll make you big. We'll take it to radio. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
I know exactly what you're
I think that the whole game, in fact, I know the whole game has changed drastically.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
Well, I tell everybody that we're living in a Jerry Bruckheimer world. Before Top Gun, once a year you'd have these big movies, Star Wars or E.T. or whatever, but now everything's a big movie. And, rock and roll's kind of done the same thing, man. Every time you turn around, they're telling you, oh, this is the next big thing right here.
I mean, I haven't heard any big thing. Like, the last band to me that came out that meant anything was Nirvana. And you're talking 23 years ago.
Right.
What was the last band that came out that changed the fabric of American life?
Right. I mean, the last big one was Nirvana. That, like you said, that's 23
years. I mean, I like Muse. I mean, but basically their Radiohead meets Queen. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out there, but nothing is changing for kids. Like the youth of today, who do they, like my son's, he's 22. Who does he have to listen to? He was going back listening to Pink Floyd and stuff like, Zeppelin and stuff, because there's crap out there now. And it's not because for lack of talent. It's because there's really no avenues. There's no radio, There's no like
it's all top 40.
You know what I mean? They're either playing classic rock or they're playing, Bruno Mars. They're not
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Or this whole era of bands that really didn't do anything but twist the coattails of metal a little bit, and like they're kind of lingering, the Godsmacks and whatever, but nothing really new has come along in a long time. So I mean, I think it's because right now the whole music business is a question mark, and I look at it as the music business exchanged for short-term gains the future of the industry. In the 80s and 90s, when the advent of the CD came out, the record companies told you, oh, it's a great format, it doesn't skip, it lasts forever, it doesn't degrade sound the more times you play it, it's a phenomenal, more superior medium to listen to your music, which it's not. It doesn't sound better, and it skips, and it's all those things are lies. So they took everybody going out and buying their back catalog again on CD. So for like a period of 6 or 7 years, they had these astronomical income figures because everybody went back and bought Back in Black on CD or whatever. And then they opened up the door which they didn't see it coming, for binary code. And binary code is what's printed on a CD, and that's right now what you do when you download a song. You're downloading a shitload of zeros and ones through the internet off of iTunes or wherever it is. And they sort of took themselves out of the mix by selling this concept for short-term gains, and they don't exist anymore because there's no more music stores. There's really no more. I mean, there's no place to buy. You're going to Best Buy or Walmart. When else are you going to buy a CD?
Right, if you're not shopping.
Remember all the chains?
Oh.
You remember all the chains of stores that were out there?
Like,
I mean, they don't exist.
No, they're gone. It's all gone.
So it's like sort of like they paid the devil. The devil like said, "Here, I'll give you $1 billion for the next 6 years, but you're going to lose your whole industry in 7 years."
Sure.
So, and that's kind of like where we are now. It's just a big question mark. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows. Like, the only bands that really sell out arenas and stuff are old bands that had careers in the 70s and 80s, or 90s. Like, the Soundgarden's, Alice in Chains can go out and sell tickets, but it's really hard for a new band to create a following, to create a market. I mean, they don't have radio. They don't have MTV. They don't have any way to get their face out except for the internet. And like we said, you got to go through 90 million bad bands on the internet to get to one good one.
Yeah. Well, and I tell you something, man. Those new bands, they can't do a whole show. I mean, they don't sell albums; they sell songs.
Exactly. That's another thing. It's a singles-based economy where you go to iTunes and you pay 99 cents or $1.29 for a song, and the other 11 songs on that packaged CD, you hear.
Yeah, right.
So it's kind of, but. That's the weird thing about it. And I think that's where we're sitting right now. And it's kind of like this big whole question mark in the industry right now. And a whole generation, I think, is suffering to having to listen to, American Idol winners. And, I mean, if you think about it, TV and movies and video games have replaced the radio as far as finding new bands. I got a better shot at hearing a great new band on a video game than I do turning on the radio.
Oh, that's absolutely that's for sure.
Right.
That's for sure.
Right.
Well, Anthony, man, I tell you what, brother, I cannot thank you enough for being on the Voodoo Lounge with us today. It's been a pleasure talking to you, man.
Oh, anytime, bro. My pleasure.
Good luck with everything you got going on there, man, and I hope to see you out on the road sometime this summer.
Me too. I'm up for a couple of other things that I'm in the chatting stage right now. So if it's not with Ace, hopefully I'll roll through with someone else.
Yeah, right on, man.
We'll keep in touch on Facebook.
I'm in. Sounds good, brother.
All right, man. Thanks again.
Thank you, man. Take care, buddy.
Okay, bye.